sun isn't even up yet. What are we doing?
On move. We're leaving Australia.
It's kind of wild. Like, it's been 7 months that we've been here.
I know. Longer than that even. It's crazy.
So, tell me the plan. What's going on here?
Alright, well, we are passing Horn Island, getting around this little reef here, and then going out the pass. We have 3 other boats that have left us this morning.
Yeah, we're like the tail end of the Indonesia rally leaving.
Yeah, there are 3 boats left to clear out of Thursday Island. So like we were like the last one to clear out yesterday. Not to humble brag here, but we are faster than all these boats, so we will
They may have gotten a slightly earlier start, but we'll catch them, is what you're saying?
Yeah, we will overtake fairly quickly here.
So where are we going?
Alright, so we're going to Debu.
That's Indonesia.
In Indonesia. And should take us about 4.5 days. So yeah, I think we're
ready for our first full-on ocean passage in a while. Here's to a good sail. Thanks for a great time in Australia, babe.
Yeah, it was fun.
We had a few reefs to navigate around before we hit open water, but once we did, we saw spinnakers going up quickly, and we knew it was going to be that kind of day, at least for a few hours. I hate to admit it, but the sail is kind of kicking our ass so far. The wind has just been all over the place, and forecast is supposed to be for like 17, 18, 19 knots. We're seeing true wind speeds of 9 right now, which is, it's not a lot. The only slight piece of good news is that right now it is so much further south than it's forecasted to be that we're actually almost on a close reach. It's about 70 degrees apparent. We've tried dropping the screecher, raising the spinnaker. We used the spinnaker for a while. We have some really short period waves. It's like about every 3 seconds or so, and it was just like rocking us side to side, and the spinnaker just could not keep wind filled up. So I was just banging around, and it's just like, we're gonna rip that thing again. So we dropped that, went back to the screecher. This is kind of working, but the problem is, in order to arrive in daylight on the 25th, we need to average about like 6.5 knots. We've been doing barely 5 for quite a while, so I'm really hoping that the forecast eventually proves to be true and fills in a bit. But if not, we're gonna have to motor sail for a while, and that is definitely not what I was hoping for in this passage. Arriving in daylight is more important to me than racing, but the light winds did mean we had perfect weather to fly Phoenix. A drone's perspective really made it obvious just how much the chop was bouncing us around. We got Phoenix back safe and sound, so at least that's going right today. But now the wind is like gone. There's 6 knots of true wind speed, and in order to try to keep wind in the sails, I've got our autopilot wind vane set. There's the wind shift autopilot alarm. We're heading almost not quite south, but south-southwest at the moment, and we want to be going north-northwest, or west-northwest, what I would say. Try to get away from these low winds. So, time to roll in the screecher and turn on an engine and wait for the wind to fill in, I guess. While Amy is sleeping, I can roll in the screecher by myself, but it requires quite a bit of work. I loosen the sheet bit by bit, then roll on the furling line, and then repeat, multiple times until the sail is furled. It is by no means a quick maneuver, but it lets Amy keep sleeping, and we value sleep above pretty much all else on passages. Well, that was a lot of fun, and now, power and wind speed, 2.5 knots. The wind stayed quite light through the beginning of the night, which wasn't so great for our diesel consumption, but was an easy way to get back into passage-making mode. It is quite early in the morning at the moment. Came up on watch at 2 a.m. just like normal. And it's about 2:45 now, so it takes just a little while to wake up enough to make one of these little videos, I guess. The wind is filled in, so that's kind of nice. We are doing wing on wing with the mainsail in Janet, which we very rarely ever do, but that was the sail combination we had out when the winds finally picked up, so we're just kind of sticking with it. And true wind speeds kind of going anywhere between about 15 to 17, 18, and that works out perfectly if you're going dead downwind with full sail up. So the one thing I want to mention here is this is going to be a bit of a tricky part of the world to be sailing in, because we are off the coast of Papua New Guinea right now, and about 80-ish miles or so. We have been told that kind of throughout Southeast Asia, fishing vessels, unmarked traps, long nets, those are a problem. And right now, off in the distance, I can see 3 very distinct lights on the horizon. It's way too bright to be sailboats. I highly doubt they're cargo ships or something like that, because we're pretty far off the shipping channels, so they've got to be fishing boats of some kind. I just have no idea, you know, how long the nets might be, which way they're going, that sort of stuff. So it's a little nerve-wracking, but keeping a very close eye on things. Got the radar on, so as soon as we get them on radar, I can kind of get an idea of how far away we are, but it's just going to make me nervous, I think, sailing in this part of the world, having to deal with that.
It is our first full day out at sea, and it's 11:30 in the morning. David's napping per our usual schedule, and we're just sailing along wing on wing with our mainsail and our Genoa, and doing pretty well. We're on track to arrive on time, which is good. And I think we've mentioned it in a few videos before. I get a little seasick, and I spent a little bit too much time down the main salon this morning, so I usually spend most of my watch up at the helm, because it's really nice to have the full view of the horizon. Like, even though I read or play games or whatever, it doesn't affect me as much up here. And I think the breeze helps too. Down in the main salon, especially when we're sailing downwind, it's very still in there. So up here, I get a view of the horizon, I get some fresh air, and it seems to do wonders. I also drink a ginger beer, which is delicious.
Once I was up from my morning nap, it was time to experiment with our sail setup. The wind was coming from too far behind us to fly the screecher off the bowsprit, and going wing on wing was pushing us too far north. That meant it was time to move the screecher over to the windward bow. This is not too bad out here. It's kind of an interesting mix, because it's not quite open ocean, it feels like, because It's only like a couple hundred feet deep under us right now. But it's not, working our way up the pass along the eastern coast of Australia either. So, it's kind of nice. The waves are still a bit short and choppy, but we're still sailing pretty well. Screecher over on the windward bow is working a treat. I like this sail combination. And yeah, we're on track so far for a before sunset arrival. Should be good. Just kind of hoping the wind continues to cooperate and plays along, I guess. See how it all goes in the end, but so far so good. We celebrated the wind finally cooperating as forecasted by trying something new in the galley.
What are you doing in there?
Making popcorn for the first time.
First time ever?
Never made popcorn in a pan.
And maybe we should have tried this at anchor first, but I want some popcorn.
What David wants, Dave gets, guys.
My Admiral is so good to me. I'm gonna laugh when Colonel comes flying out. Now, do we know how full that thing's gonna get?
Nope.
Oh, this could be an exercise in
Oh, it's pretty full.
Uh-oh. And that's a lot of popping still going.
Ta-da! Wow, that's a lot of servings of popcorn, guys.
That would be a perfect midnight snack.
We'll just button it up right there, and you can eat as much as you want.
Woohoo! Thank you, babe.
You're welcome. Experiments in the galley. Huzzah.
Just had to divert around a couple of what I'm assuming are fishing vessels, all lit up, no AIS. Had to get pretty much on a broad reach, and that was kind of stretching the limits of the screecher around the windward bow, but it worked. We got around them. Now I can get back a little bit more downwind. But I will say, Amy's popcorn, delicious. That was a bit of an eventful night. Lots of fishing ships on the horizon. Didn't answer the radio, of course. Amy saw 2 lit buoys. Fortunately, they were lit. I'm kind of worried the closer we get to Indonesia, less likely that's going to be. And yeah, so we finally got far enough out that we were able to jibe and come back. So we are back to wing on wing now, and kind of hoping the wind picks up just a slight touch. We're right on the border of going fast enough to arrive into debut in daylight hours. So we'll just kind of see how things go. We should be close enough. We could motor a little bit if we have to. Gotten just a touch bit gray today, but I gotta be honest, the weather we've had so far has been better than I was expecting. I mean, we certainly have not been blasted by squalls like we were almost all the way up the northeast coast of Australia, so that's nice. But we have been taking advantage of going dead downwind and nice and gentle through the waves to run the generator, make a little bit of water, get the batteries all topped up. And God, these new lithium batteries are so awesome. Like 4 hours running the generator and they're already topped off, so that's super duper nice. We've been running the radar this entire trip because I just keep mentioning I'm really worried about all these little fishing boats and stuff like that that aren't on AIS and whatnot. So the radar has definitely helped us spot some of them, but that does mean our energy consumption is a bit higher than normal. So trade-offs, but in this case, I'm willing to spend a little diesel for some safety, hopefully. Looks like the batteries have officially reached float level. So nice to be able to get there. And the water's topped off. So I'm gonna go ahead and head up front and shut everything down. That afternoon brought a few squalls in our direction, which actually ended up helping us out this time. First squall line has passed us, so that's good. There's another one behind us, not so good. But the good part about the first squall line passing us is it did bring a change in wind direction. The wind decreased as well, not so good. So it's a game of pluses and minuses at the moment. But the big key thing is the wind direction change, because we are trying to thread a pretty fine needle right now. On our charts there's a big spot. Yeah, actually hang on a second, let me show you. You can see the remnants of some of the squalls and the one approaching. But if I move the chart up here, you can see what looks a bit like a shallow spot. We're gonna pull on in here. Hopefully you can read that. It says unexamined 1938. So if we do the math, 1938, 2018, 80 years. Come on. I mean, those are Navionics charts. You would think that somehow in the last 80 years, somehow they could have had a source that would have updated that particular spot on the map. That's frustrating, but you know, in the spirit of backups upon backups upon backups upon backups, we actually have, I think, 4 different charting sources for while we're here, including SAS Planet, which does satellite images, so we should be pretty well covered, hopefully. But you know, avoidance is just going to be my primary option. So with that wind shift the first squall gave us, we are threading that needle because there's another spot over on our port side we want to avoid as well. So if the wind would pick up just a touch to get our average speed back up, that would be great, but I'll just be thankful for the wind shift at the moment. Whoa! Hey you! Yeah, ready for night watch?
Where's the moon? I want the moon.
It's going to be pretty cloudy tonight, I think. So how are we doing so far?
Good. It's 7 o'clock on a little over 48 hours. 56 hours of sailing.
That one, yep.
Yeah. So it's going well. We're still on course to make it in Wednesday.
Whatever the
sunset?
25th is.
Whatever the 25th is before sunset. So it's good.
Now I just got to start keeping a very sharp eye out for those Indonesian fishing boats.
Excuse me. I had a lot of fishing boats last night.
It's true, but they were all lit up, so I think they were Australian. I'm kind of worried about the Indonesian ones that are probably not lit.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
The night is going pretty well so far. It's very quiet out here. I just saw one light off on the horizon, off our port side. Nothing on radar, no AIS target, so not entirely sure what it is, but looks like it's fairly far away. Other than that, the wind shifts have been coming exactly when we need them. I think Neptune's looking out for us tonight. We are still wing on wing. As I've mentioned kind of during the day, we've had to dodge around a couple of these relatively uncharted spots on our charts, and just when I think I might have to, you know, jibe or do something with the sails, and just a little bit of a wind shift comes around and swings us around the spot I'm trying to avoid. So Neptune, thank you. You're being a good pal tonight. It appears as though we have a stowaway on board tonight. You gotta work to earn your keep around here, buddy. You begin by cleaning up that giant frickin' mess you've left everywhere. Love that moment when the sky's just starting to brighten before the sun's come up. Still got just a couple stars in the sky. It's very, very peaceful. The Admiral has requested that we get the fishing lines out this morning. So I'm going to do that nice and early and hope the fish are biting. Forgot to mention it as I was setting the fishing lines out, but as you probably noticed, our little stowaway has gone and disappeared. Did not clean up his mess like I asked him to though. It's very rude, but I'm just gonna say that cleaning up after him, hopefully that'll be practice for catching a fish today. The fish were having a good lie-in that morning, but we got a bit more action than we'd bargained for in the afternoon.
What's going on here?
Hey, we got a fish!
Hey.
Yeah, we had a strike earlier on the rod over on the port side, but he spit out the lure pretty quickly before he even got out to the rod. So we've got one over here. It's fighting pretty hard, but
Alrighty.
confidence.
Alrighty.
Fish. Come on, fishy.
Down.
It's bigger than you think. Well, that looks like a tuna, my dear.
I do believe it is.
Woohoo!
Yay!
A little bit of vodka down the gills.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to be struggling.
Nope.
Oh, that is absolutely devastating. We had two orcas that were right there off the back of the transom. I tried to get the camera on just in time, but it couldn't get it on. And by the time the camera was on, they were swimming away from us. Oh, that was so cool. We've never seen orcas before. That is so awesome. Well, how do you feel about catching a fish?
I'm very glad we caught one.
Good.
I thought I maybe tempted fate too much earlier today because I was planning what I was going to do with the fish that we caught. I was counting my chickens before they hatched.
That is very dangerous, babe.
I know, but I did really want to catch one. So we've got some good tuna meat now. I'm excited.
Yay.
One of my favorite things. Serving utensils acquired.
So, what exactly are you making with the delicious tuna that we caught today?
We're having the spicy tuna poke. for dinner.
Yay, that's so nummy.
With rice and beets. Because that's what we have.
Well, that works.
Yeah.
Worth catching the fish then, huh?
Oh, definitely. And tomorrow is sushi night.
Well, hopefully we'll be in debut and invite a few people over as well.
Yeah.
What a celebration for arrival.
Exactly. New country. First one in like 8 months.
It's pretty wild to think about that.
As you can imagine, the tuna was absolutely delicious. Perhaps it was a bit of a sign though, as on our last night for this passage, we ran into one of those Indonesian fishing fleets I was so worried about. Sun is over there setting right now. We've got a lot of gray rolling in. Looks like we could have some squalls and rain showers around for a little while overnight. Something reflecting over there. That's actually a boat. Uh-oh. How's it going, babe?
Well, it's interesting right now.
Yeah, how so?
We have 11 or more fishing boats on the horizon. Fortunately, they are super lit up, so we're just hoping there's no nets or fishing lines for us to run into, and we're gonna try to pick a hole and make a run for it, basically.
Yeah. Tried hailing him like twice and no answer.
We are firmly in Indonesia now, so yeah, they're a little notorious around here.
This was one of my biggest worries about this passage, and lo and behold, last night here we go.
Yeah, and it's raining.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Because if it rains, it pours, huh? Literally. Thank you. I'll be here all weekend.
The rest of my life, guys.
That's a very long time. What a sucker you are. We later learned that the fishing boats with extremely bright lights are likely fishing for squid. In order to maneuver more easily through the fleet and prepare in case we got caught in a net, we furled in the screecher and went back to using the Genoa. So the sun is set, there's no moon yet. The fact that you can see those lights just indicates how freaking close they are. Amy and I just swapped shifts. She told me we just finally passed some of the last of those fishing boats. When at one point we counted 47 in our view, and then we just kept going through them. So, man, it was just a lot. And thank goodness, Amy said she could see them dragging something, but we didn't run into any nets or lines or anything like that. So, thanking my lucky stars right now, that worked out okay. I can still see the glow from some of the boats back on the horizon, but thank goodness we're past that. Believe it or not, the sun is actually rising right now behind me for the last sunrise at sea for this passage. Not gonna go down as one of the most spectacular we've ever had, but it's been a bit of a challenging passage between weather and fishing boats and it's all kinds of fun stuff, so I'm very excited to get to Indonesia at this point.
Alright guys, land ho. We can see, well, we can see the island ahead of us. Not quite our destination, we have to get around it. But we're about 25 miles to the anchorage as the crow flies. Yeah, so going well. It's 11:15 right now, so we should be in mid-afternoon probably. The wind is actually quite perfect right now. It's 18 true with an apparent wind angle of 115. So I've got the full Genoa and the full main out on a starboard tack. We're doing awesome. Probably averaging 7 knots or 7 1/4 maybe? I don't know. So yeah, getting close.
We're almost there, babe.
We are almost there.
Can you believe it? Indonesia.
Yay!
I'm still just happy we managed to make our way through all of those fishing boats last night. That was pretty gnarly.
Yeah, that was a lot of fishing boats.
So how are we looking now?
Good. Like 8 miles to go, 6 miles to go, something like that.
Yeah, closing on in. Still got just enough wind in this little channel to make our way up, and I'm gonna guess that Anchorage and Naboo is going to be quite crowded.
Yeah, we're gonna have to squeeze in somewhere.
Yeah, we're one of the last to get here, so, well, think skinny thoughts, I suppose.
I think we know that like there are at least 7 boats behind us though.
True. So we won't be the very last one, but
yeah. It'll be close.
bringing up the rear for sure.
7 out of 44.
Yeah. But oh man, I'm so excited for Indonesia.
Me too.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Arriving in a new country meant flying the Q flag once again, and I'll admit to some nervous excitement as we prepared to explore a new part of the world.
Hey y'all, as you can probably tell, I'm not very close to water right now. We are actually up in Old Phuket town. My sister has flown all the way into Thailand to come visit us, and I think help us celebrate the fact that we are finally at 100 episodes. I cannot believe we finally got there. It has been such an amazing journey. I'm so thankful we've gotten to share it with you guys. I appreciate you guys following us, watching, commenting, everything. It's made it just that much more special, I think. We have got so much more coming up in the future. We're about halfway around the world, so Indian Ocean to go, Africa, crossing the Atlantic again. Got a lot coming up, so thank you all very much for sticking around, checking us out, and here's to the next 100.